within my first 3 years, I was able to get to 1.5 mils with YouTube alone.
Freud Vixamar is an entrepreneur and anonymous YouTuber who teaches others his successful methods.
When I almost gave up, blew up, channel got monetized. First paycheck from YouTube was $1,200.
Wow.
And from there, that was the epiphany moment that, okay, this can work.
Ads. Is it lucrative to run ads from YouTube?
It's not. From my experience, is that once you stop the ad, the channel growth just completely stops.
Welcome back to another episode of Attractive Mindset. And believe it or not, this is actually the last episode of season 2. And what better way to end the season with none other than Freud. This man is very poised, very calm, has a nice calm personality, and he's going to teach you a little bit more about YouTube automation, but also I'm going to let you tell him, or let him tell you a little bit more about himself. So Freud, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So again, my name is Freud Vixamar. I'm a founder of a small boutique media company that is called Faceless Freedom, and I specialize more on what we call YouTube automation, and which is more based because I have a YouTube channel so people can look me up, but I mainly focus on building what we call faceless channels. So these are channels where we don't have to show our face, we don't have to be on camera, but we own it. We get other people usually overseas to make the content for us, and we usually, get the revenue, the bread from YouTube.
Gotcha. Okay. No. So YouTube, the whole category of YouTube, I'm glad that we can have this conversation because I feel like YouTube in general is like a different field from all the other social medias like Instagram, Facebook, every type of social media, Twitter, TikTok has its own way to get like views and hit algorithms and stuff. And YouTube, I'm not going to lie, has been one of our biggest challenges to like just keep traction. And I feel like we put out good content, honestly, but we're still not even monetized yet on YouTube. Like we have a certain amount of subscribers, we have a certain amount of views to begin with, but it's with the podcasting, like our videos are super long. And what I find out is like our watch time is like not where it should be, I guess, or where it needs to be. And so it's not increasing the hours at like a super expedited rate. And so, what I want to start off with is why YouTube?
Yeah, so originally I started YouTube around 16, 17 when I was about to turn 17. And before that age, I was a sophomore in high school. And at sophomore, I was at the verge of, my parents were pushing me to see, okay, Freud, what are you going to do? You have to apply for colleges. And at that time specifically, I wouldn't say I was a dumb kid, but I was a high performing kid in school. So I started doing some research. I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? And I'm Haitian, by the way. So I was born in Haiti and I came to the state when I was 9.
Okay.
And naturally, my parents were saying, you could be a doctor, you could be an engineer, a lawyer. And I didn't really want to be any of that. So what I did, I was searching online. I'm like, what can I do? I was trying to see for different jobs and how much money do they make. And what got my attention the most was a pilot, because I also wanted to travel the world. And they make decent money and I get to travel the world for free. And I remember when I first came to the state, when I got into a plane, I was like, this is probably one of the most fascinating human invention I ever seen. Wow. Even till this day, a lot of people fear airplane, but I love airplane. So I was searching online and obviously I started seeing different ads. Now I had a friend of mine that we went to the same church and he just happened to be doing Shopify. And I follow him on Facebook. I'll see his videos, building the store, making this amount of money. And he was making around 7-figure at that time.
Oh, wow.
And I remember a specific Saturday at that time. Also, I'm applying for different jobs because I'm trying to get a job to make money because I know college is going to cost money. Yeah. And my parents say, if you don't have a scholarship, you're going to have to support yourself too at the same time if you're going to go to college, which is why you need to get a scholarship, because they wouldn't even start applying for different scholarships and things like that. So I remember I had, because I was a musician in church also, Saturday, I was coming from a practice and in the church hallway, I'm like, because I went to a Taco Bell interview, I didn't get accepted. And I'm like, damn, I need a job. And it just happened to be, he was there too at the same time. This was before I knew what he was doing. And it's like, bro, you don't really need a job. And he's like, if you can come to my house, I'll show you certain things that I do. And I went to his house. I kept going to his house a lot more often. And at that time, I started to have a license, so I was using my parent car. And I grew up in like the Orlando area, so I just go to his house here and there. And obviously, I wouldn't say I grew up in the poorest neighborhood when I came to the state, but my parents started doing housekeeping. My mom used to work housekeeping at Disney, and my dad also used to work housekeeping at some hotel in Orlando. So when I went to his house, he stayed near Reunion. If you anybody that live in Orlando, it's one of the nicest neighborhoods in Orlando. So I remember I was driving in my dad Honda, and there was a gate, and I had to go through the gate. The gate opened. They called him, and they say, "This kid is here for you," and they let me in. And I'm driving through. I'm like, "This is a really nice neighborhood." And obviously, we spent about also a whole year where I started my own store. And what ended up happening is I had to spend more money to Facebook ad. And I asked my mom, luckily my mom was able to give me $500. Spent Facebook ad, picked my product. It was like a Haitian necklace. And the Haitian necklace I only sold after spending close to 400 on ads and the rest on building the store and things like that. This was back in 2017, 2016-ish. I sold one product.
Wow.
So I was on the negative, but I was happy because I'm like, okay, this is actually work. And during that time, my mom couldn't give me any more money, and I was applying for a job. Funny thing, I ended up getting a job for a week, and I got fired a week later. So I told my friend, it's very hard for me to do it. And even though he was there to help me most of the time, but it's a learning curve sometimes. You know, you still have to test the product. You have to warm up the ad account. And I couldn't continue. And then I was doing more research. I came across affiliate marketing, and I didn't need to have money. I can just create a YouTube channel, review certain product, which was a strategy at that time, and I could promote that product. So I started a personal YouTube channel. I was doing that, did about 20, 30 video, made one sell. I sold like this MCA stuff. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with it.
MCA.
I was affiliating for MCA.
Okay.
One person bought the policy. I made $100 from that one person. Didn't make a dime after that. So during that time, I was just testing things. Because the thing about me during that time is I had a lot of time. When I was going to school in high school, I was the type of kid, I would go to school, there would be homework. Next day, come to school, homework is due, carve the kid next to me, and I'll just watch TV when I get home. That's all I was doing. So it wasn't a big deal because I had a lot of time in my hand, and usually even sometime I'll sleep in school, so I'll be super energized when I come home. So basically, I did affiliate marketing, and I did eBay drop shipping too at the same time. I had a friend that his father had a warehouse in my area. They're Arabic, so they would drop ship stuff from the Middle East, and they have a big warehouse, and they're just they're wholesale this product. And I remember he was telling me this, and this kid at 16, he was driving a Mercedes to school. So I'm like, hey, so can I help you guys sell this product? And I'll settle for a higher price, just give me a part of that money. And what I would do is like, okay, so he gave me a couple of pictures, and I'll put them on OfferUp and stuff like that, try to sell for a higher package. So when the person requests for it, you know, I would go get to the warehouse and give it to them. So eventually I got scammed. Out of $4,000, somebody gave me a bounce check.
Damn.
And I didn't know what that was at that time. And what happened is I was selling about $1,000 worth of phone. And basically he gave me that check. He's like, it's only $4,000. You can keep the rest. I should have known at that time. So I'm like, you sure, bro? He's like, yeah, you can keep the rest, yada, yada, yada. So I took the bounce check, gave him the phone. I went to Chase deposit the check. It reflected on my account. I was like, oh, $4,000. And that's like $3,000 that I can keep to myself. And the rest I can take it to the kid that. And basically, I think it was about 4 or 5 days later, the check bounced back and my account went negative $4,000. And I've already took out some money. You know, I'm like, I'm about to invest here, invest there. And Chase called, because at that time I was 16. I had an account with my parent. They called my parent. And my mom was freaking out. Like, your account is negative 4,000 something, because I've already spent some of the money too at the same time. And that was one of the time I actually cried at night, because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And 4,000 at that time is a lot of money for me. But I still continued, ended up being forgiven for that, because I was able to explain the situation, and they got it, and they canceled my Chase account. Wells Fargo account. And I couldn't have a Wells Fargo account for 5 years, basically. Now, I came across YouTube automation from a YouTube video. This guy named Jordan Mackey, he was doing $30,000 a month. And he did a YouTube video showing, hey, I made $30,000 a month with YouTube this month. And I remember seeing his video. I was seeing his channel. It probably had less than 5,000 subscribers at that time. And it's like, it's not from this channel. I barely earn. It's barely monetizing this channel, but this is a Faceless channel that I run. So I'm like, this is interesting. And short story, I ended up doing more research. I started about 7 channels at that time in certain niches. And after 6 months, one of my channel, when I almost gave up, blew up. Channel got monetized. First paycheck from YouTube was $1,200.
Wow.
And from there, that was the epiphany moment that, okay, this can work. And I made the videos, I made the content all by myself. So this was like, okay, $1,200 that I could actually keep. And I remember it was so unreal at that time. I went to Chase and I went to the ATM. It was night. I went to the ATM. I took out some of the money because I couldn't believe it was real. I took out some of the money and I was like, shoot, this is real. And I put it back in. And that's when I started more channels. I started to focus. So I started seeing, okay, what worked with that channel. So I started a similar channel in that exact same niche. And then from there, it was, it's up and down, obviously. There was some month where the revenue go down because the view would go down, but I started multiple different channel. And within my first 3 years, I was able to get to 1.5 mils with YouTube alone. And over 70% of that was from the YouTube ad revenue.
Sheesh.
On YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's a lot to digest. Wow. Okay. And so YouTube, the money from YouTube is very real.
It is.
And so you said you didn't make your first 1,200 until 6 months after doing it.
Until 6 months.
Okay. And that was through 7 channels.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. And so this pulls me in a lot of different directions. And so with YouTube, you know, of course we have the different niches and everything like that. But when people focus on a channel, let's say a podcast, right? You know, how important, or just content in general, how important is title, thumbnails, the keywords that you put, like when you're making the post that people can't see? Like, what makes a video stand out even from a new channel? Like, do people actually type these things in? Like, how does it work?
So back then, that used to be very important. The reason I say used to be is because Google on YouTube, and they have this smartest algorithm, and they have the most data on almost every single individual on the planet that have a device, a smart device, to the point where you can speak around your phone, and sometimes you start seeing stuff on YouTube based on what you speak about. So we had channel where, to be honest, at the moment, we don't even focus on tags. It's not really the most valuable thing anymore. It used to be. They used to rely on that, but not anymore. So what mattered the most right now, you'll see channel that blow up, and with certain tools, you can see their tags, and they'll have 0 tags on their channel, 0 tags on their video. Now, for podcasts specifically, there's a lot of different methods you could take when it comes to that. Usually, I recommend sub-niching down. Unless, for example, if you a podcast, unless you Joe Rogan, where you don't have a niche, but you're interviewing people that have a name that people are already searching for.
Yeah.
But if you not interviewing people that's not, you know, famous like Elon Musk, like semi super famous like Elon Musk, you need to have a specific niche. It's going to help you grow at a faster time frame. So for example, that could be, I believe for you, it's business, entrepreneurs. And usually when it's sub niche down, you can reach a little bit, you can reach specific audience. And because the algorithm is designed to promote, the main factor around the algorithm is watch time, which you mentioned, which I was like smiling. The goal of every social media platform is they want to keep the viewer on the platform for as long as possible. Nothing else. If a video do that, it could be the most stupidest video ever in the world. But if people for some reason sit and watch it, it might evoke a certain emotion, whether it's laughing. That's why you see the stupidest stuff. And I love a lot of things, but we live in a time where you have kids that are younger than I am, 16, 17, making millions from YouTube by just yelling at camera. But people sometimes find entertainment. So sub niching is very important. Usually if you somebody that doesn't have a name. For some channel, for example, we use other people like celebrity names. So we're more vague. But usually for a podcast, when you're building a brand on yourself, I would highly suggest you sub niche. And if you can, you want to provide what people are looking for. And there's a lot of way you can go about this. It might be at least even one speaker that is on the rise, or it might be, if the person has to have a name, controversial stuff. Because keep in mind, if a podcast is a little bit controversial and people love to watch it, it's going to keep their attention even if they disagree with it. And if a podcast that you do have at least can get a 30 to 40% retention, even if it's an hour, a 30 to 40% retention, you have a very high chance of going viral. And viral, there's a lot of definition for it. It might be 10,000, but I would say at least 4 times your most, if you a little bit established, even 10 times viewer than your average view on your video right now.
Got it.
Yeah. So guys, I want to give you a very special gift. I'm going to drop the link to what I'm doing, which I call the 5-day Faceless YouTube Challenge. This is a challenge. Within 5 days, I'm going to show you how to build a profitable YouTube channel. And this is the exact same strategy that took me from 0 to over 1.5 million within 3 years. And this is all without me ever having to make a video, get on camera, or having to be a personality in general. So we'll drop the link below. You can get your ticket for the lowest price of less than a McDonald's meal. And I'll see you guys there live within that 5 day.
Okay. No, that's good information. And so if that's the case, then does the title really matter? Because I see some people that don't really put a title that I guess somebody would type in, but they just put a title like crazy year 2024.
Yeah, so keyword, basically optimizing your title for keyword, it's not really the best method anymore. So it's just optimizing title based on what people would click. So like clickbait is what some people call it, but obviously I have to read what the video is about. So it's just optimizing for what people would click on, and the algorithm will do the rest. If people click on the video and it's actually a good video, a good podcast, and they actually watch it, the algorithm would gladly reward you to show it to more people because you're doing its job, which is keeping people on the platform. They'll do the rest for you. So the title, you don't have to optimize for what people are searching for, but mainly what your audience would click on.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And so with that being said, when you have an algorithm kind of shift, what I found out a little bit as well is that it's not really the algorithm that stops you from growing. It's other people that stop you from growing. And so if they see your video pop up and you have 20 views on it, 30 views on it,
right,
but they have another video that pops up in their feed because of the algorithm that has 10,000, 20,000 views, they're probably going to watch that video. And so how do you get people to watch your video when you're just starting off?
So naturally, everybody has to start somewhere. I had somebody that was starting a podcast also that asked me for some advice, and they do more business similar topics for the most part. And I told him if they can get at least one person that is somewhat famous, then that will be a ripple effect. And they interviewed Sneeko, and that video got the most view. I don't know if you know who Sneeko is. And that video got the most view for their podcast. Because before, they were interviewing great entrepreneurs that even make more money than Sneeko.
Got you.
But nobody know them.
Yeah.
So Sneeko was the ripple effect, because YouTube is like a snowball.
Yeah.
If you can get one viral video, some people will start checking out. If it's a good podcast and they like the host and they like the podcast, they'll start, okay, they'll check out other videos. And even if they don't, the algorithm will see that they stayed and watched for 20 minutes on that video. It's going to start showing similar podcasts or your podcast on their feed until they might just click on it and they watch another podcast. So I would recommend getting like a speaker that have somewhat of a name going for them, even if you have to pay for it, which I would highly recommend that you do, because it's gonna get some views. And at that time, especially, Sneeko was very controversial, happened to be at the same time.
Gotcha.
But he was making, I don't know if he's still making that. He had a deal with Kick where they're paying him $300,000 a month just to do 20 live stream every single month on the platform.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now, myth or fact? Are there different algorithms for the type of content that you post, like shorts, mini clips? These are like the 3 to 5 minute videos, and then of course you have your long form. Does it matter that you post all of them on the same page? Because I see some people with separate YouTube pages where one page might have shorts, one page might have long form content, one page might have a mix of, the 3 to 5 minute clips and long form content.
Right. So I'm not personally sure because I've never speak to anybody that work in the back end of YouTube if they have different algorithm. But what I do know for sure, most of my channel we upload 90% of long form and less than 10% of short. So for every 9 video, we might upload a short. What I've observed with YouTube is if you go viral for short, they're not gonna promote your long form video because YouTube is promoting what people want to watch or what they're staying and watching.
Yeah.
You might have 1 million subscribers, but they all came from short, and you upload a long form video, only 10,000 views.
Yeah.
And some of those audience that are subscribed never see the long form video because, believe it or not, YouTube sometimes suppress video from even your subscriber base. That's how much they care about people staying on the platform. So I tell people, yes, it is beneficial that a lot of people do it if you have a separate channel for short. If you're gonna upload it on the same channel, I would do the 9 to 1 ratio. It would be a lot better.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. That's a big gem because that's part of what we got caught up in. We went way more viral for shorts.
Right.
And we're a long form content based kind of platform. And so it hurt the viewership with the podcasting. But I think we haven't posted any shorts in maybe like going on like a month now. And so just giving it time to shorts detox and then building back up. And I do see the retention starting to increase for the watch time hours, which is good. So that now leads me to the next question. Ads. Is it lucrative to run ads from YouTube?
So like YouTube ad to get views?
Yeah.
It's not. The thing with ad is, yes, you can target specific audience to watch your channel. And I've tried for multiple different niches and never work out. The very first test that I did was with a luxury channel, and I was talking to people that love to watch luxury content. Or just put my video first when someone searched for a specific keyword. Now, what happened is you're going to have a high click-through rate, obviously, and you'll get a decent audience retention. Sometime there's a 20% chance you have at least a decent retention, because a lot of time you're going to get a lot of click, but not a lot of people going to stay and watch your video. And what I've observed personally from my experience is that once you stop the ad, the channel growth just completely stopped for the most part. And anybody and I've observed people that are very expert at Instagram or TikTok, because that's not my domain, but I've speak to a few of them and I've asked for their opinion on that same topic. Is with YouTube, once you start spending money on ad, they want you to continue to spend money on ad. And at the same time, the best way is organic, because when you let it does it work organically, the algorithm is finding the exact people that want to watch. And if somebody actually willingly click on your video and watch it for 20 minutes, it have a higher chance of them watching other videos, especially if you're sub niche and you have more similar video on your channel. But on ad, it's kind of a forceful way of people clicking on your video, which is why they have a very low retention rate. And long term too, if YouTube is seeing that your videos are having low retention, it's just gonna not promote your channel in general. So even though you're paying YouTube and you're getting a low retention rate, and it's hurting your channel in the long term in general. So ad is honestly one of the worst things you could do if you want to grow a channel, is running ad to grow the channel.
Got it. And so that's from the YouTube ad perspective. What if you did like Facebook ads to promote like an intro that you make for your YouTube channel or something like that, and then have it go through there?
Honestly, I haven't tested that.
Okay.
So I can't give my opinion on that one.
Okay. I'm just throwing out all the different things that I'm thinking about, because one of the biggest podcasts right now, Diary of a CEO.
Yep.
Yeah, they do that dude does a lot of crazy stuff.
He does.
And he has a humongous reach and the videos just go absolutely insane. And I do know that they do ads. But they do Facebook ads. I don't know if they do the Google ads through YouTube, but yeah. And the other thing that, it made me think about is, because we've done some YouTube ads for sure, and I can definitely see what you're saying with it, is like, if you stop it doesn't do anything. It just stops. And so it like forces you to keep going or keep doing it. But when you do it to a certain, because they recommend a certain amount, like 200 that you spend for it or whatever, and it'll go whatever, it'll get the most traction or retention,
right?
Where it goes based off of some other creators that I've seen where they're like, hey, the algorithm is pushing your video out. It's just you don't have the views for them to want to watch it, because it's almost like that psychological effect where, you know, an example is these two restaurants that are the same restaurant.
Right.
They painted the front of one blue and the other one red, and they had like a little grand opening thing, and they stacked everybody on the side that was painted blue, whatever. And this line was empty. Same restaurant, same menu, same food, same everything in Vegas. And people, even though this line was super long, gravitated toward this side because everybody was there. And so it's almost like the same concept when you go on the video. People are gonna go watch the video, whether it's a topic that they like, or they like the title, they like the thumbnail, because everybody else is already watching it. And you start to see these things on social media the same way. People follow people that have blue checks or a lot of followers or a lot of posts that are talking about this with comments, or they'll comment on something if they're not the first person to do so, you know. And so it becomes like a ripple effect like that. And so I've always like optimistically kept that view to be like, all right, well, if it has a certain amount of views and the content is good, like it'll retain more views. But then we're faced with that adversity of, well, now you got to keep paying YouTube damn near forever to force a click-through rate that maybe isn't the best.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it becomes complicated. So now with YouTube and your faceless YouTube stuff, is all the money made through YouTube, or do you have call to actions?
So majority of the money is made through YouTube. Okay. But there's like 5 different ways that we leverage to monetize our channel. In certain niches, obviously some ways are not as effective as other niches. So there's affiliate marketing. One of the biggest issues that I had when I was doing affiliate marketing before YouTube is I had to pay to get traffic. Like I had to get people to go into the product and buy the product. So now if you have a health channel, your channel is getting, let's say 100,000 views on a monthly basis, you can just have an affiliate link of somebody else's product. And this is just one thing I do one time. You go to click and you get the link, you find a good product, and you just put in your default upload. And let's just say out of 100,000 people, worst case scenario, 0.01% of those people actually go and buy the product. And let's say it's just it's a $50 product, or let's say it's a digital course on how to get abs in 90 days. And let's say it's $500 and you get 2% commission, very low. And if you do the math, you see how that really add up a lot.
Yep.
And you don't have to work for that audience. It's already just coming there. You already make money from that view. So affiliate marketing is one of them that we do. And we also, believe it or not, that's one thing I started doing last year is drop shipping. But we do white label drop shipping because I don't like getting products and having a warehouse and none of that. Yeah. So we do white label drop shipping. Just slap a logo into somebody else's thing and we tell people to go buy it in that store. Got it. In certain niche, it's a lot better to find like a vendor or different sites. Like Rock To Me is a very famous website for like supplement brand for a health channel, which is very good for. And we started doing digital product in the form of ebook. So that one is one of the easiest one because most niche you can have a digital ebook, which means if you have a channel, for example, on luxury, you're covering different like top 10 yacht in the world, top 10 richest this person in the world. You can create an ebook on how to, because usually people that watch like very luxury content, they're more business minded for the most part, or at least they're interested in starting a business. So you can do an ebook, like obviously leveraging ChatGPT, and you get a freelancer on Fiverr to do the cover for you, make it neat, and you get the PDF on how to 10 businesses that you can actually make 7-figure with. And it's a 50-page ebook that cover different businesses. And you can sell that for $7. And you only have to do it once. And you can go to ClickFunnels, of course, use their pre-built ebook template, and you get a domain, You can name it after your channel, and then you connect your Stripe to it, and you just put that link on there, and you only pay that $97 a month for ClickFunnels, and from there, just free traffic going to the ebook. Obviously, a small amount of people will buy it, but that's a product that you own fully, and you get paid for it automatically. So that's one that we use also. One that's a little bit more complex is subscription, which is a new one we started testing with school becoming a big thing. Because I started hosting a lot of my community, even for my program, on school. And school have that subscription feature where you can charge people anywhere from $1 to $999. So you can create this one. It's a little bit more complex. So you can create a school based on what your channel is about, where you can create a community. So that way that community can be giving values, or you're dropping stuff on a weekly, monthly basis that's actually helping people. That's worth for them paying. Usually the sweet spot is anywhere from $7 to $97 a month. That's the sweet spot for most people.
Got it.
Obviously, if it's gonna be $97, it got to be very valuable, and $97 is usually good for niches like health or finance, because those people will pay $97. But for most of the niches, like $7 is usually the sweet spot. So you can also still keep the community faceless by obviously not showing your face. And what we use for the most part, we use stuff like 11 Lab, AI voiceover. And with 11 Lab, there's over thousands of voice, so you can clone another human voice, and they could be the voice of that brand.
We actually use that.
Yeah, it could be the voice of that brand. So you still never have to show your identity from building that subscription. And that's one thing we're newly testing out. And I'm working with a lot of other people, and also a couple of people that does exactly that I do. We're building different community and kind of seeing how it perform overall. But so far, getting a little bit decent result with it. But the goal, I'm trying to see if I can get one community at $7 a month to get even over 10,000 people, because we have some channel where we have over 500 subscribers on there. Wow. To be on $7 a month. Because I'm noticing subscription is one of the most powerful thing that you can have right now.
Membership model. No, yeah, like the gym membership, all that type of stuff, because people said it, forget it, low key.
Exactly.
And especially if it's not something super high ticket, it's like, I want to cancel it, and it just goes months longer or whatever. Or, they'll be like, I'll visit it, or I'll do it eventually, or whatever. But no, it's a good model. And so with Faceless YouTube, running all of these channels at the same time, what kind of overhead does that cost you? So
we usually pick, depending on the niche, we pay anywhere from $25 maximum to about $55 per video. Now, if your channel is more, because that's an average of a 10 to 15 minute long video. If your channel is more of a documentary style video where you're uploading 30-minute or an hour long video, it might be a little bit more cost more cost also.
Okay.
Now, the profit margin usually when you have a profitable channel, because for me, a profitable Faceless channel is earning at least $2,000 to $3,000 a month, which is like my sweet spot that I always tell everybody. For the most part, you're looking at max paying $500 if you're uploading, because you can also pick how often that you want to upload. I recommend people upload at least 3 times a week. If you're uploading 3 times a week, you're paying, let's say, maximum $55 per video. Let me do 50 because that's an easier math. Time 3, that's 150. Well, that's 100 and we're looking at 165 if it's $55 per video. Time that by 4, that's about close to over $500 to $600 a month base that you're spending. And the average channel RPM is $5 on YouTube. So to be able to break even, to make whatever you're spending, you need to get at least on that end $5 to make about $600 with a $5 RPM. We're looking at, you have to be able to get, this is where I'm not a math genius, but I'm guessing you have to be able to get at least about above the 20 to 30 to 40,000 views on a monthly basis with your channel.
Got it.
And even if we look at 20,000 views, that's about 600 views on a daily basis. And that's very, very low. That's very low. That's a low, terrible performing channel. And with the channel that we built, like Faceless channels, is we thrive around, because we're very flexible compared to a podcast, where tomorrow we can upload a video about, depending if it's not a niche, about anything. Yeah. Because it's just flexible. We have a team that make the whole content for us. So I manage a couple news economy channel. Like if Trump gets shot today, tomorrow we're covering that news tomorrow. Got it. So it's very flexible. So we more thrive on getting on trends and what's happening, and we have a higher we have a higher percentage of going viral than, people who get on camera or people who does podcasts like you do, basically.
Got it. Yeah, no, that makes 100%, sense. The trends there, you're hitting things that are happening and that people are looking for.
Exactly.
And so with that being said, do you think there's a way to blend like a faceless podcast channel? Where you could still have the podcast, but then you have videos of faceless stuff that could be on topic with the sub niche of that podcast.
So I've had a lot of people ask me that question. I had a doctor that I went to sort of help trying to promote his practice. So you can do that, especially with the 11 app. You can clone your voice so people can get used to that voice on the Faceless channel. I haven't personally done it yet. And a lot of time when I haven't done something, when I've seen somebody done it successfully, I don't want to, make prediction or, and things like that, unless I have like the experience on it. So I'm not sure, to be quite honest. I know for a fact, because some channel where we building a second channel within that same niche, one of them that we use is we'll use end screen or community post shout out, because it's easy if somebody subscribes to a channel about health and you say, hey, check out this similar video about health, but it's on another channel. It's easy to move that audience over. But for a personal channel, I would think that it work. And funny that I just had something came to mind as you said that. I was in LA. Or was it last week? I was in LA. Yeah, I was in LA last weekend I was in LA, and I went to Ty Lopez Mastermind. And I met this one guy over there where he does Faceless channel as I do. He had this massive YouTube channel where he had over 1 million subs. He owned the channel it's called Far From Weak. It's one of the biggest channel, and a lot of people want to know who's behind the channel, and I've met the guy. Basically, he started his own channel where on the same topic, because he loved the topic that he talked about masculinity and helping guys and with dating, health, and also wealth in general. So he started his own personal channel. He grew his personal channel to 60,000 within 1 month.
Damn.
Just because he told people, hey, check out this guy, which is his personal channel, because he wants to grow a personal brand. So for him it worked. I guess the only thing is it will have to be within the same aspect, within the same niche. So it have to be, if your podcast about business, potentially a Faceless business channel. Yeah,
got it. Okay. No, that's definitely a route to think about. And so how important is the community tab feature on YouTube, and is it even lucrative to go live?
On our channel, we don't go live because it's faceless.
Yeah.
So that's a feature I don't use at all. The community, we use that to promote all the channel, but it's similar thing like the old saying from what's his name, Gary Vaynerchuk, the jab right hook, is you don't want to keep promoting. Watch my video, which is what a lot of people actually do. So the community tab is meant to be a community tab.
Got it.
Not a promotional tab. So what we do in our channel is we just give value. If our channel is about health, hey, this natural remedy that cure headache, and here's the ingredient. So we do the 9 to 1 ratio. So out of every 10 content, one of them is a call to action. It might just be watch this video that we recently uploaded. So it needs to be mainly more of a community, giving people value, because that's going to raise the engagement. Same thing with community. YouTube won't promote your community if people are not engaging with the community. So that's why you have trying to have millions of subs, but they post something in their community, only 200 like. So people don't like to be obviously promoted too, but when you're giving them free things and value and things like that, you can raise that engagement. And the more engagement that you have, the more YouTube is going to start showing to your subscriber base and even people outside of your subscriber base.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so now with you still have the 7 channels?
When I first started with 7 channel, 6 failed, 1 became successful. So I dropped the rest of the 6. Okay. And keep in mind, I was just getting started. So I was in that learning curve where I had to go through different failures. And even till then, I'll say that I still have failures, because YouTube is also unpredictable. It's always changing. So I'll start a new channel. It doesn't go as I expected it to go, but I have to adjust and test different niches and see what works till this day.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so with the current channel that you have right now on YouTube, how much would you say you bring in a month just from YouTube?
So we do anywhere from 30 to 60,000 monthly basis from the ad revenue alone. It really fluctuates.
And the ad revenue is them putting ads on your video.
Yep.
And so how long does your video have to be in order to maximize that?
So a video has to be at least 8 minutes long to be able to place ad on it. Anything shorter than that, then you can't manually put the ad on your video. YouTube usually handle that for you. So the longer the video than 8 minutes, the more ad that you can place on it. But that doesn't mean you're gonna make more money, because a lot of people try to do more longer video because of that reason. For certain niches, shorter video perform better, like 3 to 4 minute video perform better. They get more traction, more views. So if you do long form video and it's sacrificing, the retention, and obviously you getting a lot more views, then you're making a lot less money, even though you're placing more ad on your channel. So it really depends. At the same time, I tell people, look into your niche and see what is the average length of a video for your competitor.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, this is starting to make a little more sense. But YouTube is just complicated, is what it sounds like. Like, it's super complicated. It's not like, a social media post where you can literally just post something. Like, I have mastered a way of almost a version of faceless Instagram. Almost. Because I do a lot of like celebrity reels and I hide it from the profile grid. And so my content will be on the profile grid, but the celebrity reels that are just other people, famous names and hashtags and stuff will be on the regular reels tab. And so you'll only see it if you click over to the reels, but the traffic that we get from there is immense. Might have like 1.1 million reach, with no ads or anything like that. And then a lot of people follow the page from there and they click my content and they tap in, they do stuff, they've bought stuff before, right, whatever, they'll do stuff like that. And so I don't know, like, even in here you explain it for YouTube, it just feels and seems a lot more complicated. And so what would be your suggestion to somebody that is looking to start YouTube and really wants to make money off of YouTube, both in a not a faceless way, but then also in a faceless way?
Okay. So YouTube, I would say obviously TikTok, I've seen people go viral on TikTok. I had a friend of mine, she did one video on TikTok, it got 500,000 views, her first post. That can happen on YouTube, but it's obviously beginner luck.
Yeah.
So I would probably say, from what I've heard from other people, I think it's obviously a little bit more competitive than the other platform, but it's the most rewarded. For a faceless channel, they actually pay you a lot more than Instagram. I don't know if Instagram actually pay for real. I know TikTok pay a little bit. Like, you get 1 million views, I've seen people get paid $100 for that. So it's not really lucrative. And for a personal brand standpoint, people build more trust with you. And if you want to build a community or you have a product to sell, it's way more easier for them to trust you and actually go into your community or actually follow you on social media compared to just Facebook or Instagram or TikTok that's just very rapid. So there's just multiple advice that I would give for anybody that wants to succeed with YouTube. Somebody asked me if I had to give the top, not strategy, but my best advice within just like a couple seconds, what would I say? That was yesterday. I had 60 people that I was speaking to, and it was C, which is number one, you need to be very creative. And what I mean by creative is when you look at Diary of CEO, I believe it or not, I've seen their videos show up in my time. I never click on any of their podcasts for the last couple of months. I watched my very first podcast last month. It's funny that you mentioned last month. There was a podcast show up on my feed with this divorce lawyer, and it got a lot of views, and the topic got my attention. The thumbnail got my attention for the most part, and then the topic, and obviously I saw the view. I'm like, okay, shoot, this must be good. I clicked on it, and I started watching a couple other podcasts from his channel. I didn't subscribe to it, but YouTube is still recommending to me because I watched a couple of his videos, especially for that long amount of time. So looking at his thumbnail, is very creative. If you look at his thumbnail, they're very clickbait. The divorce lawyer one, I think it had you will be divorced of 60%. It was a very clickbait topic that got to me. I know, and I would honestly say this. The reason I clicked on it is because I have a girlfriend. And we're planning on making it long term. And I think it had some scarcity in it. It would say this amount of people that are together would divorce or whatever, something like that. And I'm like, shoot, I clicked on it because it got my attention. So they put clickbait into it, and you have to be very creative to be able to do that, know what people would want to click on. And also in your video, I watch his podcast also. I sat down and put his podcast on TV, which is very rare. I listen to podcasts in the background while doing other things, but his actually sat down. And if you see his podcast, it's very cinematic, like from even the set, but the angle, the switching back and forth, the zooming and zooming out. Like I noticed those details because every time I watch it on social media, I'm like, why did I watch this whole thing? So I'm trying to see, why did I watch it? Because you can learn a lot, especially if you're running a media company, which technically you are also.
Yeah.
So creativity. The second C is gonna be consistent. In general, with YouTube, you gotta have to be consistent. But obviously, if you're not consistent with the right strategy, obviously, looking to improve, looking what work and what doesn't work to at the same time double down what work. You can be consistent with the wrong strategy, and you're gonna upload 100 video, you're gonna still get no traction or no video at all. So creativity, consistent, and there was one last thing. I think it was P. But from the top of my head, what will come to mind right now is just looking what's working and providing what people actually want to watch. A lot of people want to do what they want to do or what they're interested into, which is perfectly fine. You can still do that, but you have to understand you're one out of 2 billion active users on the platform. What you want to do don't really matter too much. Now you can still be yourself. Doesn't mean you have to change yourself, because a lot of people change themselves with social media, but they still make a lot of money by changing themselves.
Yeah.
You can still be yourself, but you have to understand what people really want to see. And that video that I clicked on, Diary of CEO, it appealed to me in a way because I'm dating and I watched the podcast. It was a very good podcast. I learned a lot. The guy wasn't famous that he interviewed. But I clicked on it because it just called me as an audience. And I was like, shoot, this might be for me. And I clicked on it and I got some information. I liked it, and I checked out another podcast. So it's going to be creativity and consistency. And lastly, I don't have a specific word for that, but identify what people actually want to see and want to watch from your niche.
Got it. Okay. No, that's definitely dope. We emulate a lot of things from Doic, Diary of a CEO. So just even expanding on that, growing on that is something that we're looking forward towards more. And I love hearing that feedback because ours are very similar. Of course, his has a super high level grade to it, and they get super meticulous. Like the man has 3 psychologists on his team, organizational psychologists on his team. And, they do run the A/B testing for thumbnails through Facebook ads to get the episode pushed out and all that stuff. We're not that advanced yet,
Exactly.
But there's so much metrics that can go into it. And, thinking outside of the natural box, you don't have to just use one platform to grow one platform.
Exactly.
And they leverage that in a lot of different ways. And of course, they don't share like all the tips and tricks to how they do it. But, figuring out has been a journey. And so,
And do you know also YouTube, now you can do A/B testing with thumbnail? You can upload
Really?
to thumbnail at the same time. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And so how does that work on YouTube?
It's updated. So naturally, when you upload a video where you put the thumbnail, if you haven't seen it in your account, maybe it's updated for a certain account, but it usually would show if you want to add another thumbnail. Now they add a feature where you have to verify your account first. I think you have to submit your license or passport, some sort of ID, but you can upload 2 thumbnail and it would actually split test to see which one that people clicked on the most.
I've seen it, but I didn't know you could. It's like 3 slides.
Yeah.
He's the one that does it. So I had to look at him real quick, like, And so will it choose which one automatically is doing better? Like, how does it gauge that?
So you can see which one actually performing better, which one have a higher click-through rate. And you can obviously choose by the one that have the highest click-through rate, you choose that one, you delete the other one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And so how long should somebody, would you ever delete a video?
We don't, because we pay for it. So if it
Yeah.
doesn't get views, we just leave it on the channel.
Mhm.
But I've re-uploaded video
Okay.
that didn't perform, and I feel like it was a good video. And sometimes, weirdly, when you upload a video, sometimes it does end up getting more traction than before. Because as a matter of fact, when we started the channel, when we have 0 subscribers, you're not gonna get a lot of views on your channel, and you might have good video.
Yeah.
But once you start growing your subscriber base, we will take a video we uploaded a year ago and we'll re-upload it. And now we get more traction. Obviously, we make more money from that video.
Got it. And wow. And it's the same video.
Yeah.
And so if somebody scrolled down a year, they'd see it and then scroll there.
So we delete the year one, and now it's showing as today.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's definitely dope, man. Nah, Freud. And so Freud, even with the name, you know, you said you got named after Sigmund Freud, you know, so what's the connection to the psychology aspect?
Believe it or not, I didn't know I was named after Sigmund Freud specifically till I was in high school. Throughout, when I came to the state, some people would call me Freud, and I had some substitute teachers. Sometimes they would be like, Sigmund Freud? And I would always like just brush it off. I looked it up once, now it's Sigmund Freud. This is the same name as I do. And in high school, a teacher said, do you know your name after Sigmund Freud? I'm like, I'm not sure. Some people have told me that. And I remember I went home. I've never asked my parent about it. And I was like, why Freud? And it's not a Haitian name.
Yeah.
I'm like, why Freud? And they were like, my parents were like high school sweetheart, and they both took psychology. They both took psychology together. And Sigmund Freud, if you really study him, some people think he was very crazy. Some people think he was a genius, and they happen to think he was a genius. And so they decided that they were gonna name their first son, their first kid, Sigmund Freud. Freud. So they named me after Sigmund Freud because they thought he was a very smart, brilliant, genius guy.
Yeah, it's Freudian ideologies.
Exactly.
No, that's dope. That's super dope. Okay. And so did that ever, you know, and them telling you that make you want to pursue a certain amount of psychology?
It didn't. But naturally, when I got into entrepreneurship, I started reading a lot of self-development book. The very first book that I read was, what's the name of it again? Not Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill.
Think and Grow Rich?
Think and Grow Rich. That was my very first book, because that friend of mine that was doing Shopify, he said, you need to read Think and Grow Rich. So he's making 7 figures. I'm like, whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. So I picked up that book, I bought it, and then I went into Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I started buying more and more books. And obviously a lot of those books, even Think and Grow Rich, there's a lot of psychology inside of it. And I realized even with what I do, there's a lot of psychology behind it. With what you do, there's psychology play a role in almost every single part of everybody's life.
Yeah.
And if you can better understand how people operate, then you have an advantage, especially in your social life. So that I went a little bit deeper into psychology. It wasn't because of Sigmund Freud or my name. I feel like I would have still do it, but it just happened. It is a very interesting thing. I feel like most people should study at least the basic of psychology.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's literally one of those topics where it can be used for good, or it can be used for bad, because it can go both ways. Understanding how people think about certain things, you could become like the Riz master, as they would say, or, you know, you could just get almost what you want, you know, sales without being too salesy, or, you know, just articulating yourself in a certain type of way to where the conversation flows a lot more smooth. And some people take that more manipulative, and some people take that more understanding, and you know, it's just, I don't know, it's like yin and yang. It's like a good balance. But no, that's dope, man. And so do you teach what you do to other people now?
So, and 2 years later, I bought a course. It wasn't after I started having success. I ended up buying a course like that 6 months later, because that guy I saw his YouTube video, he had a course and I couldn't buy it in the beginning. So I went back and I bought the course because I'm like, I want to see what he's doing in the inside. So I bought his course and I became the most successful student within his course.
Wow.
And naturally, when I made posts, like I'd be like, oh, shoot, guys, another Wendy today. This channel, we had a viral video and people were just DMing me for, what do you do? What do you do? What's your niche? What are you doing? What's different? So I was just DMing people, answering their question. And my friend, he actually had a program for e-commerce. He didn't charge me because we went to the same church. He was my buddy.
Yeah.
And he's like, bro, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just, responding to those people. He's like, what you should do instead, just do like a group coaching call, charge them and do a group coaching call. And believe it or not, a lot of people, you spend a lot of time doing this when you can just be focused on building more channel. And when people pay, they pay attention. So I did a 7-day coaching call, and I started charging $500 for it. For 7 days, I'm like live on Zoom with them, how to build a channel and all that type of stuff. And then they'll have the channel and they go along by themselves. So, and surprisingly, I said I'm going to do it for 12 people. And everybody that DM me, I'm like, hey, I'm doing this. And I sold out like the first day.
Wow.
I think I let 19 people in because that's how much people actually went to get in. So after that, it was exhausting. I was like live for 7 days for 5 hours because I wanted to answer all their questions.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was hungry, I'm tired. And by the 4th day, I'm like, I like teaching, but for that long, it was just tiresome. My friend was like, did you record it? I didn't record it. And it's like, you can do another one, record it and host it on Kajabi. And then now, instead of actually doing it live, sell it. And you just give them access and just do a Q&A call if they have any question on the recording. And I did exactly as that. And I ended up making, I remember I made, I think it was 20,000 a week from just selling my knowledge. Because I went from 500 to 12,075. The only reason I rose up the price is because I was actually showing them my channel and I was testing a lot of new stuff that was doing pretty well. And I'm like, if I'm going to show them like my channel that I'm making 8,000, 10,000 a month, I might as well charge a good amount for it and make the time worth it. And people bought it. And they bought it. And then eventually I'm doing Q&A, people are getting result. And my friend basically said, I ended up starting a YouTube channel. He said you can make a good amount of money by actually not just doing what you're doing, but also teaching people how to do it. So what I ended up doing, I had the course in Kajabi and I made it a lot more neater. I added a lot more stuff. I started updating it every single week what I was doing. So now people are getting result. And I started a personal YouTube channel. I grew it to right now till this day. I haven't uploaded in a minute. I think I have maybe 20 videos so far. I haven't uploaded like maybe up to a year right now. 20 videos. I got 5,000 subscribers with my personal channel.
Wow.
And I started a channel about maybe 3 years ago, and I was very shy and introverted. I did 20 videos. I'm like, okay, that's it. And a lot of those people would watch my channel, would DM me on Facebook or Instagram. And then I'm like, hey, here's the link to my program if you want to get it. And my YouTube, we have like a free value. But if somebody want to get like my personal time, usually people just want like the one-on-one, then they pay me for the one-on-one. And then they get access to the program and with the other people that are in there, and I help them build their channel.
So is it like evergreen content?
So it's evergreen content. But obviously every single time things change. For example, right now, one of the biggest things that is happening at the time we're shooting this podcast is, what do you think that is?
Your YouTube is getting views.
What do you think the hottest topic is right now that people are watching and searching for?
The politics.
Yeah. So this channel, we call it Wokebuster. We started this channel about 90 days ago. So over 90 days ago, it did not exist.
That was 22,000 subscribers I saw?
Yeah. So it literally 365 days didn't exist. 90 days ago, this is when we started, like around May-ish.
Wow.
And it went viral. And that's just by uploading content about Trump's, Kamala Harris, and even woke culture and things like that. People are watching, even with Israel and Palestine that is happening right now. Just providing news, as CNN, all those other platforms are doing. And it went viral. And every time I'm working on, because there's a certain time of the year, there's certain trend that are happening in certain niches. I'm always testing different things. So I would share those channels. I would share those with the other community. I'm like, hey guys, get on this right now. This is very trending right now. And it's best to get in certain time into certain things. And I know as we go into November, this channel is going to perform a lot more better. So it's more about those content are not really evergreen. We're monetizing off trend. We make a huge amount of bag. And then we usually get the channel to post more evergreen content. We're just covering like, because the election is gonna pass.
Yeah.
Then we have to figure out what is the hottest news right now. But we do have niches that are more in evergreen content where we're not really focusing on the trend. For example, we have History Channel. We mainly focus on top 10 thing that Christopher Columbus discovered. It might have not been America, but other top 10 thing.
Gotcha.
So we just cover evergreen content that people a year, 2, 3 years from now, those videos are still getting traction and views.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Now that's interesting. And so for a podcast, you know, as for aesthetic purposes even, but even just for growth purposes, would you post like the 2-hour-long podcast and post snips of it, like 3 5-minute clips, 10-minute clips on the same channel?
I would. And this isn't from my personal experience because I follow a lot of podcasts. I'm always a student of the game. Even if I don't do anything like in the personal aspect of YouTube, I'm always seeing, I watch every single Mr. Beast interview because I'm like, this dude is doing something that a lot of people are not doing. And people watch his video, it's only 10 minutes. That 10-minute video, usually sometime are a month in the taking. And Mr. Beast, one of his mentor, his name is Daryl Eve. He's one of the genius of YouTube. The psychology, every single seconds of his video, there's a psychology purpose. Like he said in the interview, the volume of how we speak, how we shout in the beginning, the word that he says is scripted word by word. And he have the thing to a T for his video. So it's not by accident. In the beginning, he got viral by doing stupid stuff, staring at the camera for 5 hours, stuff that people wouldn't do and people just like to watch it. But he reached that breakthrough by giving $1 million to people, building 1,000,000 wall or 1,000 wall in Africa, doing stuff that people were not doing, documenting it, but in a way making it entertainment, because there's billionaires that are doing what Mr. Beast are doing. But Mr. Beast make it fun entertainment and also targeting all the human emotion. If you watch his video, he target all the emotion. At a point of every single Mr. Beast video that he's uploading right now, there's a point where you're going to feel like you want to cry. He purposely do that. There's a point where you feel like, you know, that hope in humanity. There's a point where you might even get off the edge of your seat, where he's about to give money to somebody, but they almost lost the game. You're like, oh, shoot. Even though it's not you in the game, you're like, oh, shoot. And the person that happened to compete for that prize, and you see it in every single Mr. Beast video, they're so-and-so is in the hospital and they need that $10 to actually help it out. And you're like feeling, okay, I want this person to win the game, and boom, they lost. And no, you feel sad. And Mr. Beast is out here because you participate, you get $1,000. And you're like, he's a great guy, subscribe. So I love Mr. Beast. He is a good guy, but his video have a psychological reason behind every single thing to the T. Even the length of their video, they even put it down to the T. So I'm always studying. So one thing I would say, even with like Fresh and Fit, when they blew up and things like that, I noticed popular podcasts, they would take that hour long because a lot of people are not going to watch an hour long podcast. Even if they're into your space, they're never going to do that. So by doing the 10-minute, it really does help out. I see with a lot of different podcasts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, man, Freud, this was amazing. This was some good gems, you know, just getting the inside scoop on some YouTube stuff. And so outside of your program, do you sell like a course where somebody could just get it, you have the course, and they like DIY kind of stuff?
So if people go to my Instagram or even my personal, but mainly Instagram, which I'm on, we have different level based on different tier. Because some people are not ready for Ferrari. You want to start with a Honda. So last week, what I did like a 5-day challenge. I was live for 5 days, and people have different budget. There's some people that are starting. What I realized, some people that are starting don't have $1,000, $2,000 to run a course. So we create a 5-day challenge. It's like the price of a meal, like if you would go out. So for 5 days, I show them how to build their own channel to have them established and have their channel built on YouTube. We have different programs that are more, if they want to have more access to me, or if they want me and my team to build the process for them. So for example, I have more of a done with you, that mixed with done for you program, where I would build a team for them. I would get the channel monetized, believe it or not, for them. Wow. So sometimes we cover a couple of the video to get the channel monetized for them, and then we pass the channel and the team onto them. So that way, as soon as they get the channel, they start uploading the first couple of video, they start seeing some revenue coming in. So obviously that's a little bit more expensive. Yeah. But that's why I said I understand some people, you at a certain level and some people at a higher level. So for more entrepreneur people that are a little bit more busy, professional, they mainly want it done with you. But for the average person that is starting out, because when I started, I was 16, I was broke, which is why we do our challenges. Right now, we do them every 2 weeks. I'm going to start doing every single monthly basis, because also whenever I'm traveling a lot, I do them here and there, or every other month. So usually if they go to my Instagram, they'll see the date. We usually put the date when we have the next one.
Got it. Okay. No. And so, I always like to give the guest the option. You don't have to. Some people do, some people don't. If people make it this far in the video, we like to give back to them. And so for like your program or your challenge or whatever, I'd like you to give 2 away. 2 away to people.
Honestly, my personal YouTube channel, I was growing channel from scratch and just documented the whole thing for free. So they can go to my YouTube channel, which is why I did it. I'm planning on going back to it, because I was a little bit less consistent with it. Another thing, I have a book. I created a 230-page book. I had a friend of mine help me wrote the whole book, because I hate writing books. So what I had them do is I did I spent 2 months going through my whole program, everything that I did, and we put it into a book. So we wrote a book. The book is obviously for sale. Now they can reach out to me on Instagram, and I can give them access to that book. We also created a PDF that have like some of the top 4 profitable niches of all time. These are niches that have made me the most money since I started YouTube automation. So that one, I usually give it away for free as a bonus for some people that join the program. So I'll give it away to the masses audience. So I guess if they just DM me on Instagram and they actually tell me they came from your podcast, then I'll send in the PDF for that one.
There y'all have it. So listen, if you send him a DM, say, hey, I watched the video on Attractive Mindset. We came over here. But if you DM us, we'll send you over to him the same way and just be like, man, we'll pop a code up on the screen. So we know that you watched it somewhere in the middle of the video. So it won't be at the end, so you can't skip forward towards it. But somewhere in the middle, we'll pop a code up. If you send us the code, either one of us, we'll situate it. But man, Freud, it's been great. Just learning a lot more about YouTube. YouTube is just a forever growing world. You learn that you need it and you shouldn't want to live without it, because it's a lucrative market, but at the same time, it can be complicated. But man, if people did want to learn more from you, tap in with you, watch your channels, follow you, where could they do that at?
Instagram, and also the personal YouTube channel. My personal YouTube channel, I called it Freud Business.
Okay.
Just to document like what I'm doing business wise. And my Instagram is just my first and my last name. That's where I'm just doing personal stuff. And also here and there, I do some stories. I'll give update on what I'm doing, what I'm working on. So Instagram is the fastest way to actually DM me and actually get in contact with me.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. There you have it. Make sure you tap in, subscribe, like, share with a friend. Don't keep this knowledge to yourself. If you like the topic, you think it's interesting, just pass it on. Community, that's how we build together. But as we always say, it's your host, Moneybag Rich, and we look good, we live good. Life is good. Talk to us, we talk back, and we out.